Hello and happy Monday. So we're here again with another live with another guest this week, which is another speaker on the stage at Innovation Celebration, my end of year business event. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to explain why this person's been invited to join the stage with me and what she's going to be speaking about, and we'll be welcoming her on screen. Right, and she's a funnels expert. I've actually known her for about 4 years now, I think it is. Are we nearing five? I used to run networking events. Obviously, I still run networking events in my other business, but this was for another company. And basically, um, what happened was Fiona came to like a summer social like thing we'd arranged to get together. And at that time she was quite quiet. I didn't really get to speak to her. So afterwards, at some point I managed to connect with her. I think she ended up coming to some of the networking events and I ended up asking her to speak. And when I asked her to speak, I really could see the value and knowledge she had, especially around copywriting. And the training was on writing a sales page. And those notes that I have were in a notebook. I took a picture of them and I've uploaded them to my Google Drive and I still use and have them today. I've literally written everything down that Fiona has taught me and used it in my business. I'm trying to bring her on camera, but it's taking its time today. It's not letting me accept. There we are. There we are. Yes. And basically, she's like a fountain of knowledge when it comes to funnels, when it comes to writing to convert. You're a word wizard, aren't you, Fiona? And we very quickly became really good friends. However, over the years as well, I have worked with you as well, haven't I? I've done quite a range of things. So you used to do lives in your group when you ran your group, and I'd absorbed that knowledge. Again, wrote it all down, still use it all today. I've bought some of the like templates that you do on your website, some of your free trainings on your website that you've had in your own funnels, and then I've done. You had a membership with Copy Club?
Copy Club, yeah.
Yeah, I did that. So I had sessions and I milked it like I got as much out of that as I could. And then you closed that, and so I invested in you to write some copy. And most recently, I've had you in my mastermind teaching my clients copy. In fact, is it this month or next? You're doing one in one of my programs, aren't you, for myself and my clients as
Yeah.
well?
This month,
Yeah,
I think it's the end of this month, yeah.
yeah, sounds about right. Because I wanted to basically, Fiona did an amazing um, launch copy email series sales sequence for me. I think it was last year, and I actually sold out the mastermind I was selling at that time. And I loved the sequence. It was like magic. I was like, how do you do that? So I was like, I want to learn that. And so I invited Fiona to come and teach me, but then had a bit of a brainwave and thought, why just teach me when I can teach my clients as well? Well, Fiona can teach my clients as well. So I brought her in. And then thinking about the people that I wanted to bring on the stage, as anyone who's watched this series of videos will know, it's all people I've invested in, people I've worked with, bar the two clients that I've invited. And Fiona is one of them that I've invited this year. And she's going to be talking about funnels and copywriting and why it's important for your business and give you some tips and support with that on the day. So I'm really, really excited about that. And yeah, so she's going to be there on 21st of November. So Fiona, do you want to introduce yourself before we get chatting?
Yeah, so I'm Fiona Green. I run the Creative Copywriter, which is an agency that specialises in funnels. I usually tend to work with what I would call like soul-led, heart-driven coaches, service providers, well-being practitioners and stuff like that, because I really get it. And I think this is a massive impact. I think maybe you would agree, but we'll see. But a lot of my clients say, you know, you've got to have the right service provider for you. So like we talk a lot about, you know, your USP, what's special about you. And I think the thing with me is that I really get the self-development world, the personal development, like manifestation, law of attraction, like all those kind of elements of people's businesses, because I kind of live and breathe it myself. And because of that, it's meant that I'm really good at kind of writing copy for people in those specific industries. And I don't just work with that, like I have a financial advisor guy who is one of my clients and stuff like that. But funnels I just love them. Like, and I know that people sometimes are like, what is a funnel? And also kind of get really freaked out by the word. And it is a marketing word, it's a jargon word, but essentially all it is just taking people on a journey, and we strategize what that journey looks like. And it could be a little mini journey, or it could be quite an extensive big journey when it comes to launching something. But if you just view it like that, I just want to take my ideal client on a journey so that we can get to know each other better. We can start to build a relationship. We can start to have conversations, because it's a two-way street. It's not you
Yeah.
send out emails and it's done and that's it. It's about building these relationships, because in the long run, that is when you will have a tribe of people who are absolutely kind of raving loyal fans and want to be in your world and want to consume your content and want to buy from you. So
And it
that in a
helps with a
nutshell for me is what a funnel is. And you'll listen to other marketing people and they'll be very kind of jargony in the way that they talk about it, but I want people to think of it as a journey about conversations and building relationships and stuff like that.
definitely. And you do that with your clients anyway, don't you? Like, I mean, we were friends, so that helped
Yeah.
before I started working with you, but you really get to know the person. Like, I know that you do research when you write, and like, oh, I could tell that you'd read like some of my social media posts and you'd use the phrases that I use, and it was like I'd written it but better, because I could not write that good.
But like, being a copywriter is part stalker,
Yeah,
right? Everyone thinks it's all about the writing, but actually it's probably like 50% research and 50% writing. Because I mean, I've had other clients, like, and I've sent them stuff and they've actually come back to me and said, did I write this, or have you written this? I was like, no, I've written this. Like, and they're like, what? You've just kind of got me. So it's about getting in not just the minds of my clients and people that I work with, students that I work with and stuff, but like in their hearts, like, what is their ethos? What are their values? What do they want to bring to the table? What impact do they want to have in the world? And
yeah.
then let's create this bridge where we get the amazing work that you do and the impact that you can have and the people that really need it. And I'm the bridge that kind of like connects these two people together. And that brings impact and purpose in kind of my work and what I do.
I love that. And impact is actually, I've redone my values recently. And this work is part of branding and your values and your
Yeah.
mission and your messaging. And one of the words that it stood out for me and that I've added is impact. And I do need to talk about that more, because, like this event, for example, I'm not going to lie, and I have wrote a post about this. It is not going to make me a single penny, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it is about that impact. And obviously, you can gain from it in other ways. Like, I could meet new people who might come who I don't really know. I get to meet people in person that I do know, get deepen those relationships. People might become a client on the day. It's the same for every speaker that's come in and everybody that's involved. You can get so much out of it, and more than just the monetary value. But impact is part of like my mission now. Like, it's not just about because you're making money, and I think freedom that I talk about, like, a lot of people look at that and it's about money and time, which it absolutely is, but it's also about the impact for me. And I feel like the words that you use, the funnels that you create that as well. And there's a lot of woven in work that are around marketing that people don't do, that a lot of what you do can help with. So that's exactly what you're going to be covering at the event, isn't it? You're going to be helping us with the strategy side of funnels and a bit of copy in there as well.
Yeah, and like, copywriting, a lot of it is to do with, it's like mixing science and art, because like the art is the creative kind of, the words, and also design, because like, it's not just necessarily about the words, it's the impact that the design will have. So you will know that, when we've done copy together and I'm like, right, once your sales page is up, send me it, because I need to check it. I need to check that the
Yeah.
words have got a good relation, because sometimes on a document it doesn't quite look right necessarily when it's on the page. So it's all like that client journey. I don't just write it and send it and that's it, like, see you later. It's kind of making sure that everything fits perfectly. And the sciencey stuff, because a lot of it is about there's loads of research into biopsychology
Mm.
and emotional traits of people, and like the science of why we buy and how we buy, and different marketing things. There's lots of formulas and stuff like that. And when a copywriter says that, I think immediately people kind of get a bit like, oh, like that's quite a scary thing. So again, like the words, the jargon that we use and stuff. So I try not to use words like formulas and stuff like that. But essentially, when I do teaching, that's what I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you tips and tricks and formulas and techniques that you can use to structure the way that you write. One, so hopefully it feels flowy and aligned with who you are, because I think that's a lot of things about copywriters as well, like out there, like proper bro marketing type people be like,
Yeah.
you know, like let's pick the pain point, let's talk about it, let's really ram it down people's throats, let's make people feel really crappy about themselves, and then they're going to buy the thing because they'll think that it will, you know, solve all their problems. And that is so not me. And that's why I work with the people I work with, because they're not like that either. They don't want to, sales probably gives them the ick. Like they feel uncomfortable about it because they're well-being people, because they're heart-led people, soul-driven people. They obviously need to sell because we have a business here. Like we need to make money to have the time freedom or the financial freedom that we want, but we want to have that impact. It's bringing it back to the impact. And so the way I try and teach people is how they can do it with certain formulas, but in a way that feels aligned to them, that feels comfortable with them, but still using some of the tips and tricks that good copywriting needs to have, but in a more
Yeah.
aligned approach. Does that make
It does.
sense? Yeah.
And look, the one word that comes up for me when you're talking about it is easy. Like you make it so easy as well. So one of the things that I've struggled with is being able to implement it. I feel like the more I practice at it, the better I'm
Yeah,
getting as well. Like to
yeah.
the point where we've had sessions and you're like, oh, actually, like you can see I've done what you've told me to do in the
It's
past and stuff.
so interesting because, like, you know, I said, like, in one way or another, we've probably worked together with copywriting for a good 2 years or whatever.
Yeah,
And I can physically see, like, the difference, the progress, and, like, there's less things I need to give suggestions about. But then
yeah,
I'll be
which
like,
feels
well,
good.
let's have a look at this and let's have a look at this. But you can
Yeah,
see, like, and the thing is, you say it's like riding a bike, but the more you do it, the more you kind of understand if you keep practicing it at it. And actually, funnels is an excellent way for that, because actually in our business we will have lots of different funnels and of different sizes and of
yeah,
different techniques and things. So in theory, if you want to build and really grow, we want to be not constantly but systematically creating these funnels that fit with your business. So the more you do it, the better you'll
yeah.
get at it and the more impact that you'll see happen.
Plus, I like I say, I wrote down everything. I've still got that. It's not on physical paper now because I did take a picture of the sales page training, like the first training I got from you, and it was brilliant. And I still use that today, to the point that we looked at one of my pages last month, and you were like, "You don't need for this offer, you don't need a long sales page," and you could see instantly what I'd done, which I love. Um, but like I use it all in everything I do, and the thing is I just do it in a way that works for me, so I save it as like a document so I can refer to that when I'm writing the sales page. I've just done some SEO training, binged it last weekend, and I used to hate it. Every time I look at it I found it boring.
Yeah.
And then when I spoke to my sister about it the other day about doing it, she's like, "Oh, so boring." I'm like, actually, this time I didn't find it boring. Do you know
Yeah.
why? Because of the person that I learned it from, who made it super easy for
Yeah.
me. And I did it in my way, processed it by literally typing it up as she spoke, and I listened, looking at her website and seeing that she'd literally does as she says, not because I think sometimes with service providers in our industry, people are like, do as I say, not as I do. And
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like that. And I try to be in alignment with that myself and do as I say. And if I'm not, I will always be honest if I'm telling you to do this and haven't done it myself. And
Yeah.
it's a wake up call to myself to do it. But she did as she says, and I could compare and see. And it's made it really easy so that by the end of doing the course, I fully mapped out a full rebuild of my website.
Yeah.
And I'm about to do it for my other business with the work that we did last month. So I'm going to infuse the funnels work, the copy, and the SEO to hopefully increase the conversions and get more eyes on the page. So I'm really excited to see how that performs. But the biggest thing there is how easy it became
Well,
from working
if
with
you have the
people
right
that were
person
on.
as well, kind
Yeah,
of showing you. Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, because I have done little trainings before, but I feel they never went deep enough. This was only a bit basics cost, but I like fully understood it, and it
Yeah.
does make a difference. And that's what I want to bring on the day as well, is people understanding how they can make funnels work for them. A lot of people in the room probably already have funnels, but I guarantee they're not performing very well. And it's not always a one and done thing. We've got to test it and try it out, aren't we? Like,
This is,
I've done them in the
yeah,
past.
100%. And I think nothing in business is one and done. Like,
Yeah,
because the other side of what I do is websites, and people are kind of like, oh, I do my website, it's done. And it's not. It's always a flowing process, because we as people change, we grow, our ideas change, the impact we want to have changes. And so that should be reflected in your business. And I think what I want to do is, like you were talking about with the SEO, is to get people excited about copywriting and funnels, because when you get excited, and you'll get more excited when it's simpler, when it's
yeah,
explained to you better, when you feel it's aligned with you. And once you've got all that, you'll become a bit more excited about it. And when you're more excited about it, you'll want to get stuck in, you'll want to change things, you'll want to tweak things, you'll want to test things, you'll want to look at it and go, okay, let's look at this page. Okay, the conversion rate on this page is doing really well, but then it's dropping off here. Where in the funnel have I got a problem or an issue? Like, what do
yeah,
I need to tweak and change? And that's what I want. I think I want people to take away from your event, or from working with me in general, is to get them excited about it. Because at the end of the day, copywriting, whether you like it or not, is in every single part of your business.
yeah,
Like, the social media posts you write, the emails you send out, it doesn't have to be a big funnel or a big website, all these little parts. So I want to get people excited about it, because ultimately you are copywriting for your business at every
yeah.
point, like every day. So if we
I
can
think,
get it simple and exciting, and you get interested in it, and people can learn in a simple way, then I think you'll get more into it, and you'll get more out of the funnel at the end, because you'll be invested in it more, rather than going, this is something that my business coach has told me I have to do. I've set up my funnel, and then expecting like everything to kind of fall into your
yeah.
lap.
You're so right about that, and I feel like that goes across the board in anything you do in your business. Like, the amount of people that come to me because they're unorganised, that they can do the plan but they're not implementing it, or
Yeah,
they struggle with the planning and where to start, or because they can't see how to get. People are always here. They want to get to here. They can see the end goal, but they can't see the steps in between. And obviously, as a
yeah,
coach, that's what I help with.
yeah,
But I think sometimes um, finding your way to do it is really important. But it's really important that they begin to love that process, because if we don't love, because we can love the idea of the excitement, we can love achieving it, but if we don't love the steps in between, we don't begin to fall in love with that. That's why we don't get there. It's why we don't get the results. And I think it's important, whether it's content,
yeah.
copy, websites, any tech, always tech, with a lot of clients that I work with, and I bet your clients as well. Or like any part of the funnel, whether it's sales page building, email marketing, branding, messaging, lots of it, people just freak out when actually, if we just pause for a minute, get the support from people like us, and find a way to fall in. I've done a lot of business basics work, and I do it pretty much every year. I go back to my branding, and things do change. And right now, I feel the most aligned than I ever have, and it is through looking at it again and falling in love with it. And it's interesting that how the results differ
Yeah.
from it. Like the comments I've been getting, even from people that are not in business. Like, one of my neighbours said, "Oh, I love that you share this post about this, because you're right." And I'm like, well, that's what I'm all about. And she really connected with that, even though she's so different to me. But she said, one thing she said to me was, I love that you're so right, you don't have to work, but I love that you do this business anyway. And she's seen me sat in the garden doing the SEO
Yeah.
course on me lounger, like listening to it in the sun, chilling. And she's, look at you, living life, loving it, aren't you? She's like, it looks like you're sat on your backside, but you're actually working. I went, yeah, this is what I do, and I frigging love it. And she saw that, and it's great to get those comments for people to see and match that up with the social media content, and
I think
that message to come
this
across.
I think this comes back though to what you just said. You said earlier that actually impact is now a word that's part of your kind of ethics and values that you want to
Yeah,
have. And it just shows that you went back to your values, you kind of looked at them, you might have tweaked them. That word is part of your values. And falling in love with doing content, for example, and talking
yeah,
about impact has had an impact on somebody out there. Yes, you might not be a business owner, but you sharing that has had an impact. So it shows how you went back to do some foundational work. the word impact is in there, and then the things that you are doing, the things that you're sharing, the content that you're doing, etc., is actually having an impact. So you are fully aligned and matched up with your values, and it's physically being demonstrated by what you've just said, which is brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
And she would, to be honest, if she had a business, she would be an ideal client because she has children who have got disabilities. She stays at home because of that. And she's had a few challenges around that, like children having surgeries. So it's like on a bigger extent to like what I deal with. And she's on her own. Like I think any single parent is frigging superhuman because I just can't imagine. But yeah, and so if she had a business, she would have been an ideal client that I guarantee somewhere. And she might start a
Well, I
business,
was
you
going to
never
say,
know.
you never
Yeah,
know. She might become that ideal client at some point. And
yeah.
that's the point about building these relationships and having conversations with people. Even if they're not your ideal client right at this very moment in time, you will stay in her mind. If she ever did start a business, she will know that you're the person to come to
Oh,
get
she would
started
absolutely.
and
I
stuff,
can
you
imagine
know?
her knocking at my door. Right, I'm doing this. Can you help me? Because
Yeah.
she's that type of person. But you want to connect with people that are going to be like, right, I'm coming to you, and that is part of the soul, like part of it that you do in it. Really, it connects with the right people, and it's so important. Is there any tips that you'd like to end on to share with people to benefit them if they're looking at funnels, copy, any of this stuff, and it's maybe scaring them as part of their business, or they're I think overwhelm is the key word. People just go when they think of it.
I get that. I mean, we could probably sit if I start, I could probably sit here for another hour kind of going through
Yeah,
things because,
yeah,
there are potentially a lot of moving parts to funnels and things. But I think the first instance I want to pick up on is what you just said about the right people. And that is super important because I'm going to go back to what I said in terms of, oh, this guru online said I need to create a funnel, or my business coach said I need to create a funnel. Okay, well, these, even if you know the steps, I've done this step, done this step, done this step, right? Okay, it's out there into the world. You may start growing your email list because that's an objective that we want. We want to grow your email list. However, the question is that email list growing with the right people? And this is a problem that I see with people who kind of just watch someone online who is a business, and I have nothing against business coaches at all. I've had business coaches, I work with business
and
coaches,
I am
some
one.
business coaches I love, some I question sometimes, but so I'm not questioning business owners, but they are looking at a bigger overall strategy. Their objective is, for example, to get you to grow your mailing list, right? So if your mailing list grows, it's like, I've done that, business coach has done their thing. When you work with a service provider who's very specialist in something, they will make sure, whether you're a student or whether it's done for you, done with you, whatever that looks like, they will make sure that you do the foundations in terms of your messaging and
Yeah,
exactly like tying that. So I always start with three main things, and maybe this is the tip for people. Before we do anything, whether I'm working with a student, with a client, whatever, we look at the foundations, and the foundations with excellent copywriting and messaging is looking at yourself as a business and what your values are, what your ethics are, what's your mission statement, all that kind of stuff. And there's your brand, it's quite a chunky thing. Looking at your ideal client, like who you're wanting to attract, but in a way that's a lot more in depth than I think some other people do, or business owners
yeah,
do, business coaches do and stuff. Like really kind of getting into the heart of what people need, the buyer psychology, like how you can connect with people with conversation and with messaging and things like that. And then the business strategy, like what you do in terms of where do you want your business to go? What do we want to achieve this month? What do we want to achieve this quarter? What do we want to achieve this year? Taking those things and working with them to create a funnel that is attracting the right people. Because it's fine if you're growing your mailing list and you think, oh, I'm getting all these people, but if they're not the right people, if you're not having the right conversations, if you're not engaging with them and they're not engaging with you, when it comes to selling, it's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. So
yeah,
I think what I do is very much focus on not just box ticking, kind of setting back, like talking to the student, the client, whoever, working out if that foundational work is really done well, and then how we can manipulate that and create something that is exciting for you because you want to be excited about and you want to get that thing into the world, your freebie or whatever it might be, and build your mailing list with the right people. So
Yeah.
I think that's something I just wanted to talk about in terms of the right people. And anyone who hasn't done or is maybe questioning some of that foundational work, like just think about, like, instead of thinking like, what do you want to do this year? Like, what do I want to achieve the next month? Okay, I want to grow my mailing list. So let's look at your freebie. You know, you want to get something out there into the world. I would always recommend having a freebie go to a low ticket, and that low ticket is just £7, you know. But when you get that funnel right, then in theory you should have a little bit of you know, semi-passive income that's taken away. A lot of freebies I see go nowhere, or they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine, like, because I don't want to overwhelm people. So like I always say, like, well, let's start with the freebie, but think about where it could go. So even if
Yeah.
you've not got a low ticket offer at the minute, when you're creating your freebie, always work backwards. That's my tip. Always work backwards. So think about potentially what that low ticket offer could look like if you haven't got one at the minute, or if you have got one, then look at that low ticket offer and create a freebie which is part of that. And it might be an element of it. It might be talking about the what and why it's important, and then the actual low ticket gives them the how, or what, however that might look like. But it's all got to feed in. Too many times I see people just create a PDF for no reason.
Yeah.
It doesn't feed into anything.
That's because they've
They
done
might have,
the tick box
yeah,
thing,
exactly.
aren't
Or
they?
like in a lot of our businesses, we might have several ideal clients depending on what offer we're wanting to go on. So obviously, like, I teach people, but I also do done for you. So it's like thinking about the funnels and where you want to take them, because you might have some of the right people, but you want to make sure they're right for that funnel, and they will feed into your bigger kind of business strategy, and you know, like your business as a whole. But it's really kind of mapping it out, and you can have so much fun with this. Like, get a huge piece of paper and kind of draw it out and mind map and things like that. And I think this is why I then created a new freebie which I've got, which is lead magnets that lead, because
Yeah.
it's kind of, when we're working, it's like the last thing we should think about potentially in a funnel, because like I said, it's much more helpful to work backwards.
Yeah.
But that freebie is the first time, it's the first touch point that you might be having with somebody, and particularly when you start doing ads and stuff like that, you're going to be getting a lot more kind of cold traffic in. So it's making it so valuable and interesting, but then also feed into your business strategy. So without trying to overwhelm people, but breaking it down in a step by step, like, what actually should a lead magnet be? Like, how should it help people? How can it show you as a leader? And that's why it's called Lead Magnets That Lead, because you want to be a leader in your industry and you want to have that impact. So it's like, how can we create that within a freebie that actually goes somewhere and has like strategy behind it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's quite a few bits of tips, I think, in that, for people who might be starting out, or maybe they've got a funnel but it's not quite working, and maybe you should go back and kind of look, like, where is this going, where is it leading, what is it I want to achieve, what does my ideal client want to achieve, and kind of matching them all up together, rather than you going, well, I think that people want this, and then just creating something and then nobody signs up for it, and you've maybe not done the research, but you've maybe not done the market research, you've not asked the questions, you've not tied what people think that they need into what you want, you know, they need. That's
Yeah.
something that I see a lot of the time, because we're so in our businesses. I go, well, I know people need to know how to write a good sales page, right? But if I try and market it in a certain way, or emails, for example, if I talk about, I know that emails need to do this, that, and the other, but actually on the awareness scale of our ideal clients, most of the people coming to me only want to grow their mailing list because they've been told to grow their mailing list. They
Yeah.
might not quite understand why, or they just know, like, oh yeah, email marketing is a good thing, I need to do this thing. But kind of properly understanding why you're doing things and talking to someone in that language. So I know you need to do emails for these reasons, but I know that people just want to grow their mailing list. So it's changing. I'm not changing what I'm offering. I'm just slightly tweaking the messaging so it fits in with what I know that my ideal client wants at that point in their business awareness journey. And then the point of the funnel is that I will take them on that journey so that I can show them this is what you actually need and this is how it's going to help you. And because we've built that relationship and that we've had conversations and we've built trust and all that kind of stuff, they'll be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. This is what I need to be doing and stuff like that. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, well, it does
Yeah.
to me because
Yeah,
I know
well,
what you're talking about. But if it doesn't make sense, drop a comment on the video and I'm
yeah,
sure
and
me
I'll
or Fiona will get back
happily
to
like
you.
answer any questions
Yeah,
that people have got
and
about the funnel.
obviously you can check out your freebie, Lead Magnets that Lead. You've got other things as well that people can look at. Just looking at your Instagram feed in itself is a wealth of knowledge that people can pick up little tips here and there. Honestly, it's so good and makes you think about what you're doing as well, which is what I really like. Anything that gets thought processes going, because one of the biggest testimonials I get actually is all of them say I'm clear, I've got clarity.
Yeah.
And at first I thought, oh, it's not a tangible result, but actually clarity breeds results.
Yeah.
Like it gets you money, time back, whatever. So I love that now. Like my testimonials all say clarity, and that's what like your concept does. Like it helps people get clear on what they're doing, why they're doing it, and that thought process that leads them to that. So definitely binge Fiona's content and you can connect with her at, I'll tag her in this video anyway, but creative copywriter, and go and connect with her and see what she's got to offer because it is amazing. Or you can book your ticket to Innovation Celebration and come and see her on stage, which will be amazing. I can't wait for that day. It's going to be brilliant. Thanks so much for joining
Thank
us
you
and sharing your
for
knowledge.
having me, Dani.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon.
Bye.